lot from her, but she gives, and she gives, and she gives.
She's asking you to be strong, to be powerful, to be in yourself.
Yes.
Just say, yes, I do believe in myself.
Yes, I do believe in myself.
Louder!
Yes, I do believe in myself.
Louder!
Yes, I do believe in myself. And I believed in her.
We're all from Brooklyn, New York, so there was a very Jewish Italian community there where people's homes were open and they would intermingle and share their faiths, share their food.
She's talking about backyard. She's talking about the trees. She's talking about dishes. She's talking about the chicken. She's talking about the chair. She's talking about everything. Please direct her what she's trying to say.
Nana's house.
Yes, my mom's house. We all lived together. I mean, they lived there with my mom and my dad. They were always together. We were always together, always cooking. She actually made a better chicken parmesan than my mother.
Yeah, hers was better. But don't tell her that.
Yeah, don't tell my mom that.
Don't tell Nana.
There is a power in sadness. There is a power in pain. And the power comes when you overcome it.
Talking to her really, really helped me, I think. And it's definitely going to kind of just clear my mind of all the...
My congressman Ron Dellums, who passed away a year and a half ago, visited FIA.
Today was a day to remember Ron Dellums, who in 1970 brought to Congress an anti-war and anti-apartheid stance that was branded as radical and dangerous.
Oh my God. He's asking, do you remember my hand?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what I told you?
Yeah.
Do you remember why I told you?
Yeah.
Dellums' youngest daughter, Piper, is proud that her father became an early voice against oppression in South Africa, applying pressure that would one day bring an end to apartheid.
You said, take my legacy, take my mantle. You're the smartest person I know. Go into the world and heal the land and do it in your way.
You know, Ron never gave up, never became bitter. He loved people.
This is not my hand, this is your dad. He wanted you to tell again, louder, louder, and clear what he told you.
I'm passing you my man. Work to be done. Run, run, run and heal the world and don't stop. Do it in your way. Run, baby girl. Do it in your way.
So she's spoken to me like a sister.
Randall, why did you cry?
She's given me the faith and trust and support that was being given me by my dad before he left. So she's done this beautiful transition of allowing me not to feel the void of his leaving.
I don't know where to go when I'm not speaking with you, or I just don't know how to feel safe in the world without you in it.
In the area where I don't have a female in my life because I don't have a relationship with my mother and I don't have a sister. She has stepped in with the feminine to remind me that I am also loved and purposeful and beautiful and worthy, that I'm valuable.
It's not just me that tried to basically sending you messages and changing her. So she changed me in so many ways as well.
So our silly song goes this way. We are the key to do more than just let it be. The key to our destiny is in the hands of our humanity. 'Cause love is more than a philosophy. 'Cause we are the key.
We are the key.
We are the
But
key.
diamond.
For centuries, it's believed that mediums have been able to mediate communication. Living humans usually recruit mediums to help them get in contact with family members or friends who have passed on. But celebrity psychic Fiona Johansson is also using her abilities to help law enforcement solve cold cases and free innocent inmates. And Fiona is joining us now. Fiona, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
We're so excited to have you. So
Awesome.
Tell me, Fiona, when did you realize you had this gift?
I was at the age of 7. It was a hot summer. A friend of mine came to my house and we had fun. We played. And 3 hours later, when they want to go home, I said, please don't, because I see visions, I see colors, and I see that you guys definitely going to have a car crash. Well, of course, at that time, nobody listened to me because they didn't know exactly what I have. But 3 hours later, our phone rang and they had a car crash. And from that moment, it took 4 years for me to realize why I see things before they happened. I feel things before people talk about to me. And then why did people communicating through me when they want justice or something about their life?
So Fiona, tell me, how did you get involved with law enforcement?
I was at the age of 17. It was back in Europe. So basically, they engaged me in this, and also I helped them to achieve and put all the puzzles together through that, because I am just communicating with dead people when it comes to my mediumship. So 40 minutes later, they sent me a helicopter, and then right after, we found the stress signals that belonged to that helicopter or that plane.
That's incredible. Fiona, can you walk me through the process when you're presented with a case at first?
When I actually starting to look into the cold cases and murder cases, again, it was the spirit that directly communicated through me. So, and when I started, I was 17. Law enforcement communicated to me and said, like, are you ready to get engaged with that case? And when I felt I'm ready, I said, yes, I am. And all of a sudden, all the names, images, visions, and things come through. And then through that, I understood that when I'm asking, or if someone asking about some name, and I don't even know about, I should not know anything about the police or officers, just tell me, we have a missing persons. We have some baby boy was like 4 years old that been missing for kind of 5 hours. I'm directly connected to the energies, and I pick up the energies through that officers that communicating through phone. So I shouldn't be in a place or be around that families or touching that families or communicating with that families.
Fiona, let's talk about a specific case about R&B singer Jamal Truelove, who spent more than 6 years in prison for a 2007 murder. He was eventually acquitted in 2015 when a jury found that the two officers had fabricated evidence. Tell us about your involvement in that case.
Well, the way that I involved in this case, it was that we got through a couple actually friends, and when they reached out to me, I said, I reacted immediately that this guy is innocent and he shouldn't really be in jail. And they said at that time that they can't do anything about it because, you know, already all the evidence is against. And I said, well, he will come out, but not now. There is a timing that I can see and I'm predicting, and this time is all about like in between 5 to 7 years. And they couldn't really believe at that moment because they felt, oh my God, it's kind of very, you know, saddest because we should really get him out. And if you said that it's going to be 5 to 7 years, that actually really make us to feel very uncomfortable and disappointed. And I said, it's the time. And through that time, I communicated with Jamal in jail and trying to let him to understand about his own value and he's not innocent, which he knew already. And I said, manifest and try through manifestation, get yourself out from the jail and make impossible be impossible and show it to everybody. And that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely fascinating. Fiona Johansson, psychic investigator. Fiona, thanks so much for being on the show.
Achieve their ultimate dreams and desires, teaching people to believe that truly anything is possible. Please help me welcome to the stage Ms. Sophia Johansson.
Welcome back. Did you know that police departments across the country and even the CIA sometimes turn to psychics to help them solve cases? Victims' families looking for answers also turn to mediums for closure. Fiona Johansson is an author as well as a licensed psychologist and hypnotist.
Welcome back. Our next guest is a celebrity medium, a clinical hypnotherapist, a holistic healer, and holds a master's in psychology. Fiona Johansson is known as the Persian medium, and she's even worked with intelligence agencies and law enforcement to find.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jack Canfield, your host for Hollywood Live. My next guest, Fiona Johansson, is an amazing person. She is speaks 5 languages, which I find very impressive. She's emigrated to several countries, has a psychology degree from the University of Stockholm in Sweden. She is a hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist and healer, and God knows probably other things I don't even know about.
Hi, welcome back to Times Square today. I am your host, Greg Roulette, and I am very excited for our next guest because she is known as the Persian Medium, the subconscious mind surgeon. She's a motivational speaker, clinical hypnotherapist, and celebrity psychic medium. This is going to be a fascinating conversation with my good friend, Fia Johansson.
For centuries, it's believed that mediums have been able to mediate communication between spirits of the dead and living human beings. People usually recruit mediums to help them get in contact with family members or friends who have passed on. But celebrity psychic Fia Johansson is also using her abilities to help law enforcement solve cold cases and help exonerate and free innocent inmates. And Fiona's joining us now. Fiona, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing today? Welcome to Avid Awakening, a beautiful, gorgeous wellness center who will adjust you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Also, it will help you to manifest your finance, anything and everything you desire for. This place is a very beautiful place which is located in Corona Del Mar. So please book your appointment today.
Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome. And now Australia's Psychic Cowgirl with Tanya Reid. Live from AustraliaPsychicCowgirl.com. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Psychic Radio. Or one of our websites, AskOneRadio.com or Moonstruck.tv. This is Australia's Psychic Cowgirl on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Hi everyone, Tonya Reeves, Australia's Psychic Cowgirl, coming at you from Sunday Creek, Victoria today. How is everyone? How has your week been? And welcome to the show. I can't believe we're nearly getting into August. I feel like, time's slow, but it's fast at the same time. So connecting with people for readings of late and starting classes, which has been fantastic. And I want to say a big thank you to all of those that have jumped on board to support my online women's circles. They've been really amazing, and I'm really excited to bring about, being online. We've been able to connect with so many of you from many parts of the world and come together as, women, expanding our consciousness and connecting more to our psychic gifts that we all have. And we've absolutely had an amazing group, or two groups that have started. I still have a couple of spots for my evening class, which is 7 p.m. on a Tuesday here, and it's Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if that works for anyone that'd like to join a really great group, we've only had one class so far, so we could certainly add a few more for next week. So keep that in mind if it's something that resonates with you. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun with classes. It's the first time I've actually delivered classes online, so it's been a real learning experience, and it's certainly one that's been really fascinating. And we were chatting about it the other day, because I always, of course, get the signs from Spirit on what needs to happen and how things are going to work, and that was the push I had to start the classes, because I did plan to do them in person, but of course at the moment we're here in lockdown and that's not possible. So online was the next best thing, and I really got the message from Spirit that that even though we're still a collective and we're gathering together and groups of amazing like-minded souls, we're actually able to do that within our own space. And there's been a lot of power with that. So you're not necessarily affected by, if you get a group dynamic, you're always influenced by, every member of the group. And that's a great thing. But sometimes when you're focusing on your learning, it can be a little bit distracting. So we're finding that, when it's around learning online and you're in your own space and you set that intention to call in Spirit and learn as much as you can, it's actually been pretty profound and powerful. So I just thought I would share that. So thank you all for coming on board, because it's been fun and I can't wait for next week. It's really made me quite excited. So I'm going to go on to my caller. I've got Laurie in, Dave hasn't given me how to pronounce this, in Pennsylvania. Shenandoah. Shenandoah, thanks,
yes,
Dave.
There you go, Shenandoah.
Hi, Laurie, how are you?
Hi, Tanya, how are you?
Really good, thanks. Thank you for ringing in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I love your down-to-earth nature of your voice. I want to go to, I feel like I'm in the country and I'm not really great with geography over there, but I feel like there's a very earthiness to you and that I just pick up through hearing your voice. So that's cool. I resonate with that.
That's good. You can take it from wherever you feel or whatever you feel to go with. I know I'm looking at some change in my life, and I'm a little confused with myself.
Okay. Okay, so you've got a few options, actually, I want to say, just with connecting with you. Can I ask you, I feel like I've got mum and dad in spirit here. It's almost like there's two around you. So they're the ones that are giving me this information. So I always like to honour whoever comes through to share with you. There is a question around following your heart and not tending to go where logically seems like the right place for you. Because I feel like, or what they're showing me is there's been some missed opportunities because you've done what is either been expected of you or you felt like that's what you've had to do. And there's something around an opportunity that's here now that is that's going to almost like connect you with what it is that your soul is calling you to do. And there might be parts of that where you think, oh, is that going to work for me? Or there's questions around how am I going to step up for this? But I do feel like Spirit are there saying they're behind you and you will be supported. But it really is important that you go with your gut feeling on what feels right and what you're ready to step into right now.
I know it's kind of hard though because I'm so out of I feel like I'm out of touch with my gut. Although I mean it seems to lead me in the right place a lot of times, but I confuse myself. Like right now, I have a choice of moving out of the area that I'm at now. I've been here all my life, and I don't know what to do. Huh?
Time for a change. Because I see you. It's like stepping out of the shadows for you. And when I say stepping out of the shadows, it's, I always say no matter where we live, we take with us all our experiences and we take with us, if we think that we move somewhere and it's going to solve problems, doesn't necessarily work out that way. But for you, what I see is you're stepping out of your comfort zone and that's where the gold is for you. So it's like, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm connecting to all your feelings around it, but it's like you've had the push. And if you look at it, and I want to go to the last probably 2 to 3 months, you've been having signs that have been showing you that you need to relocate. It's like, I'm ready for this change.
Yes, I just don't know if I want to I want to leave here because I'm not having nothing here. I'm going to end up dead if I stay here. I believe this is my whole history here and everybody, and I'll still be close and I'll still be working with people and a couple friends and stuff. But I don't know if I should leave or I'm just
you're stuck. Well, you're feeling stuck. But what Spirit is showing me is you have had signs. So when they show me that, it's almost like things have happened, and I want to go to that last sort of 8 to going back to that 2 to 3 month mark. There's things that have been stopped and changed, and it's like you've been thrown into this decision, and I want to say it's not for no reason. So it's like there is new beginnings for you, but it's stepping up into, and what I feel with the way that they're showing me is the opportunity with the moving is actually in a place that really resonates with you and somewhere that you're like, oh, this really feels like home finally. Because I feel like there's lots of pieces of you that have been, I know you said you've been where you are for your whole life, but there's been pieces that have taken away and I want to put them back together. And I feel like that energetically by moving, I'm collecting all those pieces and I'm claiming my power back, if that makes sense.
That sounds wonderful. That's what I've been trying to do.
Because I feel like there's been, you've had to wear yourself thin, you've had to give of to others, and it's like finally now, it's the realization that I'm not going to do this anymore, and the energy of shifting and moving is part of that journey for you. And it's also, I see you, I'm letting things go. So physical things I'm letting go of, and I think you'll resonate that you already started doing that, because I feel like I'm going through my stuff and going, I don't need that, I don't need this. So I'm actually scaling down, so I don't have a lot of stuff to gather. And there's something for you around, and I know it's a weird thing to say in the times we're in now, but there's something around travel. It's like once you step up and make that change, you're going to have that. Because I feel like for you, I've got there's a bit of a gypsy soul in me. So I like to explore and have adventures. And I feel like the move will help you do that.
Okay. You said the mother and you have a mother and father spirit around you, right? Do they have any messages for me? Because to me, it feels like it's one of my best friends that passed away. She always comes through to me as the mother, the nurturer, Al, and my ex, he comes through to me. He always comes through as a father figure, but he was my ex, and he comes through as a wolf, and they always come together and they be button heads and stuff. Do they have any messages for me?
Okay. Well, the main thing that came through with them both stepping in was like, come on, give you that push. It's time to go. Don't make excuses. And it's like there's clarity around that. And I feel like I want to go to part of the signs or just connecting with them. It's like they're united in their belief that there's more out there for you and we need to step into it. And I want to go to numbers being signs for you as well. So I feel like they're showing me they give you signs with numbers. So it's almost like look at your relocation, where you're moving to, what numbers, like addresses and things. There's going to be a relative, that there's going to be a number that in relation to that.
Okay. Okay.
Right, so look for the signs. But you're moving, so I'm running out of time right now. I have to find out.
I was thinking about the state capital, Pennsylvania State Capital, Harrisburg.
Yeah, yeah, it's time to go. So trust that you're on the right track. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connie, so much. You have a wonderful,
you
wonderful
too.
day.
Bye bye for now. Woohoo.
Listening to A1R Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome. Time for Jacqueline Close-More Live with Jacqueline Close-More. Jacqueline Close-More. Live from Jacqueline.com.au. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, facebook.com/psychic radio. Or one of our websites, askoneradio.com or moonstruck.tv. This is Jacqueline Close-More Live on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Jacqueline Close-More and you're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. And I'm coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia, the home of Lockdown 0.02. Crazy times. We've had 9 public housing commission towers locked down for 5 days. No one in, no one out, which has been horrendous. And 8 of those towers have now come out of lockdown, literally at midnight last night, and one of them is still in lockdown. Interestingly, across the road, in a really snazzy looking, up there apartment building, they have not been locked down. Okay, but just as they are coming out of lockdown, the rest of us are back under lockdown. So we have this whole energy here in Melbourne of being what's called ring fenced. So we're stuck in Melbourne and cannot get out. I've gone sideways. So I'm just proving that Mercury retrograde is a fun thing to do. Don't you love it? So I hope I don't do the show sideways. It's going to be kind of horrendous. Here we go. How about that? I should hopefully be facing the right direction now. Apparently not. Turn it back. Here we go. Okay. Am I facing the right way now? It's just going to be horrendous. But it's a bit like what's happening in Melbourne at the moment, really. It's sort of you're stuck where you are and you just have to make do. So I'm going to work on this while we go here. Now, I've been asked, when is this pandemic ending? When are we going to get out of this? It's actually quite the long haul. Some people have kind of been speaking about July 2021. Other people have been sort of speaking about 2022. There's a lot of talk going on, certainly in my field, between different people that I speak to about when that is. What I'm going to say is that we kind of need to prepare for this. And I think, if we can kind of maintain the social distancing rules, I know, difficult, but if we can do that, it's going to get a bit easier, to make the best of this. Look at that. You can now see my ceiling. You've got to love this. There we go. I'm back again. Okay. Wow. See, this is what you can do in the middle of Mercury retrograde. It's kind of been a unique time for media people. They've had their kids turning up, their pets turning up in the middle of their appearances on show, and I've just done, well, a semi-sideways kind of roll around the screen. Hopefully you're not all terribly annoyed with me, but it doesn't really matter if you are, because what am I going to do with it? It's just live. You can't change live. It's one of those things. So I'm just going to keep touching this screen and it'll keep on the air. Um, so being asked about this pandemic, I think the thing is, let's not get into all these conspiracy theories. There are a lot out there. Do I think that I want to believe everything the government tells me? No. Am I going to believe all the conspiracy theories that are out there? Am I going to name them all? There's just that many. There's a number of people who really get a lot out of conspiracy theories that really do not have your best interests at heart. And I think we shouldn't give those people more money, particularly people who are snake oil salesmen. Information kind of backs up the hard right wing if you really do your research. And people often talk about, well, I did my research. And what they did is they watched some crazy YouTube clip. And that's not research. If you want to talk about research, talk to people aged 18 to about 25. They're really onto it. My son, Mr. Virgo, he's really onto it. He's like into the details, and he'll hate the fact that I even mentioned him right now, of course. But if you want to know details about things, I think look at some of the very young journalists we're seeing who are not paid by anyone except their subscribers, and you'll find those people on YouTube. So you've got Friendly Geordies, you've got people like that all around the place, putting out really interesting information. Paul DeFranco, Young Turks, a range of different things. And I think if you can kind of get onto that information, you're going to get a better chance. Whereas if we're sticking to the old time sort of media that's kind of owned by various mining company sort of interests that are linked in, you sort of look at where different people in media are linked into different other people and how that flows and what organisations they're heading up, you get into some really interesting times. So I think the thing is, I'll put out more about that on my Facebook page, Jacqueline Closemore Live. I'll actually go into it finally. I know you've been asking me. And I'll put more of a rundown to that in a way that I'm happy to do, and I'll put that in a written form rather than put it on air and maybe not put everything the way I sort of need it to be. Hi Meredith, you there?
Hi Jackie, how are you?
I'm good, darling.
Hello.
Now, you've written in onto my Facebook page, Jacqueline Closemore Live, with a reading. We've got a little bit of time left, and what we'll do is we'll migrate across to the Facebook page after this as well. But thank you for writing in. Now, you're in an interesting time this year. You're in an 8 and a 9 year, sort of a bit of both, really. And what's going on there for you is it's transitioning from a lot of old karmic patterns to do with family and stuff like that, and also going into a 9, which is more about looking at what you want to clear out, what's working in your life, what isn't, and also you're asking about a gentleman you're interested in there. Now, I really felt some interesting control stuff going on his side. It's like he's trying to break out of this kind of web, a bit of a cage, and I feel he's going to do that, but it's like it's very, very, very complicated. And there is someone in his situation, that's how I'm going to put it, which you'll understand, and other people, it doesn't matter if they understand, but it just feels like he's in a situation that's no win, and he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. He has to be very careful, and it's my way or the highway. Someone's wearing the pants there, and I don't think it's him, although I think he doesn't cross-dress necessarily. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And it feels like he's having to kind of just gently pry himself free. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
I'm gathering by the laughter. Yeah, when an Australian laughs when you're doing a reading, you know you're right. That or they're crying. Sometimes, very occasionally, they scream at you, but luckily that's not happening today because that'd be very bad aesthetics. So with you, you're in a 9 year, interestingly, and of course, at the sort of coming into that 9 because you're born all the way down the end of the year, and your life path number is 9. So the thing to look at here is whether this is really on track with who you are, how you want to be, where you want to go. Just make sure that you're living out your integrity in the situation, a situation that you later on go, why did I do that? I feel the thing is you've met him at the right time. It's just been a bit of a rocky road, particularly from real, unlike, it's like, can I actually hold on to this? Is that making sense to you?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to kind of keep holding on. It's like riding a mechanical bull, really. You ever tried doing that? It's not actually as much fun as it sounds, I've got to tell you. I actually got stuck on a 40-foot gallon drum.
Exactly right.
Right. Yeah. So just hang in there for the moment. I normally would run a mile from this kind of situation, but in your case, you have great tenacity, hence the mechanical ball and the 44-gallon drum. Hang on in there because I do feel he's quite sincere and genuine. It's just he's having to come through a bit of a bull ride of his own. And I feel he's a very idealistic fellow, and I feel also, Hugh, he's had to be very, very practical in the last 18 months and really curtail a lot of things that used to be important to him that he now realises isn't. And he's gotten a lot more real. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you just got to kind of hang in there because I think he's going through a bit of clearing out his closet. You were talking about interesting acronyms there, but so there's a lot of stuff going on there, and he's having to clear it out, get a lot more genuine in his own life, and going along with the flow of how things had to be according to status and symbols and how we appear publicly. For it. Okay, law is an interesting word. The people with the best arguments. So he's going to need to be very careful here because somebody, just try and keep this real. Just remember he's going through a massive transformation, right stage of his evolution to be real about this and not just, I'll put up with. But what I don't want you doing is putting up with toxic behaviour. And I think that he's been pretty good on not going there, but you just got to make sure you don't become codependent in the middle of this. That's what I would say. So I hope that helps you. I'm going to go across to the Jacqueline Close Facebook Live page. You can answer and ask more questions there. I know that you wanted to know about the pandemic because you put something on Facebook there. So I'll pop you on there too, and we'll go further into this. And thank you for writing in. So thank you everyone for listening in, and thank you also. Last week we had Jennifer from Florida. She's actually gotten back to me and validated what I said in her reading, and we've gotten into a lot more detail. So Jennifer, thank you everyone for watching. Sorry we can't get to everyone who calls and puts their name up, but thank you for connecting with us anyway. We'll catch you next time on Jacqueline Close-More Live. In the meantime, hop on for more shows for the rest of the evening on A1R and Moonstruck.
listening to A1R Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome. And now, Reverend Elliot's Magical Window with Reverend Elliot. Live from magic-works.com. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page. Facebook.com/Psychic Radio. Or one of our websites. AskOneRadio.com or Moonstruck.tv. This is Reverend Elliot's Magical Window on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is Reverend Elliot, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, coming to you live from the city of New York, where we get together every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific to look through the magical window of the tarot. I call it a magical window because tarot cards let us see things that our senses just don't pick up. They let us look, as I like to say, around the corner of space-time and see what's coming and see what we can do about it and see what other people are doing. It's a way of spying, in a way. You can do that. Queen Elizabeth, not the one on the throne now, but that other Queen Elizabeth, she had their own astrologers and her own spies. She had a guy named John Dee, who was an astrologer, who his magical work helped defeat the Spanish Armada. And his code number was 007. Now, how's that for a nice number for spydom? But, we're not here to spy on people. We're here to look into our own lives and see what we can do to improve our situations or maybe rectify some bad stuff going on in our life and make it better. So that's what people have been using tarot cards for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's a lot of stuff that you can do magically, and the old traditions are really, in my way of looking at things, the best way of doing things in the world. The old stuff shouldn't be forgotten simply because we live in a modern age. Let's not forget that everyone who lived before us thought that they lived in the most modern age also. But, hey, here we are, and maybe 100 years from now, people are going to look back at us and laugh. I can't believe that they used to carry telephones around with them, things like that. Who knows what we can have in the future? Maybe people will expand the mind enough to really get into telepathy, which is, I hate to break it to the people who think it doesn't exist, but there is actually more evidence on record, solid evidence, peer-reviewed scientific evidence that ESP not only exists, but there's more evidence that it exists than there is that taking aspirin daily can prevent heart attacks. And think about that. You can find a wonderful speech about that, a talk by Russell Targ, a scientist who has spent most of his career researching remote viewing and ESP. He wrote a marvelous book called ESP is Real. You can find that at my website listing. It's in my listing of, just look at occult books. You go to magic-works.com, magic-works.com, and take a look at the occult book section, and you'll see a whole bunch of interesting books you can read and learn how to enlighten yourself and develop latent powers that you do have. You just may not know you have them. You probably suspect you have them. Come on, be honest. You know that. You've had these precognitions. You've had these hunches. And we've all had weird things happen to you. Want to know about a weird thing that happened to me? I've talked about it on the show, and I put it on my website, magic-works.com, magic-works.com. Look at it. It's at the top there where there's all like 90 pages listed there. Look at the one about a miracle, because this really happened to me. And I pass the place where it happened. It's just down the street from where I live, and I pass that every day when I go out. And I always think about it. And I have a little page about that, and you'll hear me telling what happened. It deals, I don't know what it deals with, precognition, ESP, other forms of life. I don't know. Look, the short story is a pigeon saved my life. Think about that. A pigeon. A New York pigeon, not even a beautiful Venetian, not Venusian. I'm talking about Venice, right? Not even a beautiful pigeon from Rome or Venice. It was a New York, I think Woody Allen was the one who dubbed New York City pigeons flying rats. But one of them saved my life, and I've been thinking about that ever since. You can find that at my site also. Also, you can get to, and this is important too about developing powers, get over to mojoacademy.org, which is the wonderful publishing company that I'm associated with, and take a look at the book Hunches. That's a book that it sells quite a bit. And there's a reason it does. It's one of the best books, if not the best book I ever read, about latent powers and all the powers we have. This was written in the 1930s, and it's still out there. It's been reissued by Mojo Academy, Mojo Brothers Publishing. It's been reissued with contemporary photographs, so it illustrates. The original book wasn't illustrated. This is. And it's one of those things where it lists the various kinds of psychic abilities people have, and it tells how to enhance that and how to develop it. You may have precognition. You may be clairvoyant. You may be clairaudient. You can hear things. There are, I always forget this, what this is called. When these people can touch something and tell who handled it last. People, you can give them a handkerchief and they can tell you whose it was and tell you things about the person. These are real things. These have been demonstrated and not in any kind of a fake way. I mean, of course, it's easy to fake this stuff, but just because some charlatan can fake it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, like, the example I use is there's a wonderful guy, I've known him for years, was named Cary Hoffman, who was a nightclub owner here in New York City, and he surprised everybody one day by getting up and singing, and he sounds just like Frank Sinatra. And he did a few PBS specials, and he sang Sinatra hits, and he shifted to make a whole new career in middle age, when you're not supposed to make new careers. That's another bit of advice I've avoided all my life. I've started more new careers after 40 than most people have had in their lives. But just because Cary Hoffman sounds like Frank Sinatra doesn't mean that Frank Sinatra didn't exist. That's the point I'm making. So don't be discouraged. If you suspect that you have some abilities in a psychic way, but you're not sure about it, and you don't know how to develop it, and you don't know what to do, my advice is, without any second thoughts, get the book Hunches by Lloyd Kenyon Jones, one of the most prolific writers of the 1920s and 30s. Lloyd Kenyon Jones, Hunches. You can get that book and you can learn what you can do. It also has a section analyzing dreams, which is a very important thing, because dreams, when Freud does it, it's highly respected. When a parapsychologist does it, people worry. But no, dreams are our way of our mind communicating with us and cutting through all the nonsense and just directly communicating with us. So that's what I want to say. That's by way of introduction to what I do and what I can do with you and for you. But I highly suggest, highly recommend the book Hunches. There's a lot of other books at mojoacademy.org. We like to say there is a book there that will change your life. But if nothing else, just go over there, mojoacademy.org, and look at Hunches. That is one hell of a book, because, I found that book because the people at Mojo Academy, Mojo Brothers Publishing, they were going to reissue it, and they asked me if I would write an introduction to it. And I read it, and I said, I can't add one syllable to this book. Nothing. This book is perfection. I wish I had written it. But I didn't, but I read it. And I read it quite often. It's a fascinating book, and it's filled with things. We've all had hunches. That's why it's called Hunches. Maybe there's more to it than that. I mean, the whole idea that there is no such thing as past, present, future. This is how tarot cards work, as I said. It bends what we call the space-time continuum. Human beings invented time. You don't see any other animals except for a white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, looking at a watch. But, they don't have to worry about whether they're going to be late for dinner. They know when it's time to eat, and they eat. We just need to be orderly, and we think of time as linear. And time just may be circular. I don't understand it, but that's how it goes. So that can explain a lot of things. And it may explain why tarot can show us things that are coming up in the future. Tarot is absolutely, beyond any doubt in my mind, astonishing when it comes to telling people what they're going through now. And sometimes you got to do that to loosen up somebody. They'll come at you and say, just tell me what the cards show, because I don't believe this kind of stuff. And okay. And I say, here's what I see, and you can see the blood drain from their faces. They said, that's exactly what's going on in my life right now. And then we can take a look into the future. We're going to be doing some very short readings tonight. I love doing that. And Wednesdays at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific is the high point of my week. But during the week, I do readings for people, including Ask One Radio listeners who contact me. And I do private readings by phone. We can spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour, an hour, whatever you agree on, that's what we'll do. And the prices are at my website. So there are no surprises on your phone bill. It's just one agreed upon price. And remember, I mentioned this last week because I had a particularly nasty disease that's been floating around for a few months now. Oh boy, was that was that nasty! But I'm here. I survived. I got through it. And to celebrate my survival, I'm knocking the price down on my readings. So you take a look at that at magic-works.com and M-A-G-I-C-K. I spell it the old-fashioned way. Magic, M-A-G-I-C-K-works.com. And if I'm going to do a reading for you, we'll knock off a nice percentage of that too, just to say, good grief, I didn't die. I'm very happy with that. Oh, look at that. I'm shuffling the cards up, and the card I get right at the top, I get two cards. See, this is what I'm telling you about. The tarot cards do this to me, too. I tell you how happy I am that I'm alive, and I get the 10 of Cups here, which is a card of consummate happiness. And then the next card is the King of Coins. Now, that doesn't have any particular meaning in terms of me being happy. It does mean something else, though. It's my significator. Everybody has a significator in tarot cards, and mine is the King of Coins, which is a man above a certain age who is a Capricorn. There you go. So I just got two cards that relate to me exactly what I was talking about right now, that I wanted to give everybody a discount because I'm pretty damn happy to be alive, folks. So I want to share that with all of you. So give me a call if you give me a call. See, look, I'm talking about maybe 100 years from now. They're going to laugh at us, and I'm still mired in 1800s telephone technology. So drop me a line on my email, asktaro@earthlink.net. asktaro@earthlink.net. I give free consultations to the Ask One Radio audience only. Everybody else got to pay a little price to get a consultation. That's just to keep the curiosity seekers away. You know, I mean, I'll refund that when you get a full reading. But you get a free consultation because you listen to Ask One Radio. And I know that you're not a curiosity seeker. I know that you're serious. So drop me a line at asktaro@earthlink.net, and we can arrange to give you a free consultation. And we can also set up a time to do a full-length reading for you. It'll be sort of like what you hear now, only in depth. So listen, that's enough about who I am and what I do, and that I'm glad I'm not dead. So why don't we get right to the readings? I'm going to get the cards are all shuffled up. I'm going to do what I do every week. I'm going to ring a bell 3 times to declare sacred space. And as we enter the sacred space, we will then proceed with the readings. And now we'll pull back the curtain on the magical window for Rebecca in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Hi, Rebecca. You're on with Reverend Elliot.
Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Not too bad. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm like I said, I'm glad to be alive. I had a pretty nasty illness, kept me off the air for a couple of months. But let's see what we can do to make things a little better for you. What would you like to look at? What can we look at?
My love life.
Okay. Well, this is fascinating because I just pulled 3 cards here, and the first card is the Fool. Now, that is not a bad card. That is, in fact, quite the opposite. That is probably the best card in the deck. If there were any negative cards in a reading, that would mean that card would reverse them and make them positive. The gypsies consider the person who gets the card of the Fool to be the beloved of God. So that's pretty good for you. The Ace of Rods is here. That's usually about a new job. Have you started any kind of new work lately?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's here, but I'm more interested in it because you have another ace a little later in the reading, 3 cards away. Aces are beginnings, and I'm judging from this that you're headed for a new relationship. Is that what you're looking for? Is to get into a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, now I'll tell you why I ask you that, because, and then I'll go over each card individually, but I have the 5 of Swords here, and that's a card of somebody who didn't get what they wanted, it didn't work out well, and probably somebody didn't treat you fairly. Did you have a bad breakup in a relationship?
Yes, actually recently.
Yeah, well, what I'm seeing here is that if that person was not nice to you. You don't have to go into details if you don't want to, but what I'm seeing here, when a relationship ends, sometimes we start thinking, was it me? Could I have done something better? But what I'm getting from these cards here is that it wasn't you. It wasn't your fault. That the person was not nice to you. Now, here's the interesting thing, because that's followed immediately by the Ace of Cups. And cups are about the heart, cups are about emotion, and aces are beginnings. Like I asked you about a new job because I saw the Ace of Rods. So that's telling me that there is a new relationship coming in your life. Now, here's the interesting card, is the Hierophant. In some cards in some decks, that card is also named the Pope. The Hierophant is like an old-fashioned word for religious authority. And when somebody asks about a relationship and that card shows up, it's a good, strong indication of marriage.
Okay.
Now, so I'm seeing that you have a new relationship coming. It's going to be a very good one, very happy. The Ace of Cups that's the beginning of all kinds of good things. And the Fool card, like I said, the card of the Fool would eliminate anything negative in the reading if there was anything. There's nothing negative in here. It just shows me the fives in tarot are not very friendly cards, but that's just because it's showing me that you were treated badly. And in case you have any doubts, if you doubt it at all, I don't even know you, and I can see from these cards that you had a relationship that didn't work out, and it wasn't your fault. Let me put it that way. That's the bluntest I can do it. But you're headed for something better, and it's possible a long-term commitment. That's what the Hierophant is there for. I think you're going to be fine, relationship-wise.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's really good to hear.
yeah, especially I always like it when there are cards here that show beginnings, and they're good. That's such a wonderful thing. Change is difficult for a lot of us, but sometimes change is extremely necessary. And and what you're changing from is a relationship where you were not treated well, and that's good change. In my book, that is good change. So keep an eye. Yeah, keep an eye out, because this is in the works now. This is such a positive reading. Let me see if I can find anything to be a little more clear about. Well, that's it. Yeah, what I'm getting here. I'm getting cards again of change and happiness, great joy. Now, the Nine of Cups is a fascinating card. Remember, cups are about relationships and all that. The Nine of Cups is a very sensuous card. The Nine of Cups is about, I remember that card because many, many years ago, I was in a relationship that broke up, and I went to a card reader, and I didn't even know this person was I didn't know what card readings were. This person's just, I was talking to this woman I knew, and she just whipped out a deck of cards, and she said, let's see what you have. And looked at the Nine of Cups and said, you are entering a period now of extreme sensual pleasure. People are going to be jealous of you. You're going to be so happy. And what I'm seeing is the Wheel of Fortune, which means the situation is going to change. I got the Death card here, which is not a bad card. That just means the end of one phase of life and the beginning of the next. There's a sunrise on the Death card. It's not a card to be scared of. Movies make it a scary card, but it is not a scary card. It just means that one phase in life is ending and another is beginning. So that's the change. You're entering there's going to be a whole new you. And the Nine of Cups is again, that is about really great enjoyment and luxurious living. There's a brief warning in there that people might be so envious of you that they'll be upset because you're going to be living so well. So this is going to be an excellent relationship for you, especially in terms of sensuousness. I hope that helps.
That sounds really good.
Well, the main thing is that the situation that you had before is gone, and it's changing. And that Wheel of Fortune, it's one more card. It's the World. Now, that's a card of assured success. You have a very positive reading here. So if you have any doubts about whether or not this is going to work out well for you, I see that it is going to be extremely good for you. You're going to have a good time. And it may even turn out to be a lifelong commitment. That's what the Hierophant is about. So, you're coming into the right place at the right time. Is there anything else you want me to look at?
I was hoping for that.
Well, that's what you got. I think that things are going to be really good for you. So, keep me posted.
No, that's anything I was really worried about. Yeah.
If there's anything else,
I
well,
will.
it's breaking up a little bit.
I
What?
it's on my heart that I needed to know.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I'm glad. See, that's what I love about tarot reading, because they really they get right to the heart of the matter, and in this case, it's literally an affair of the heart. So I think you're headed for a wonderful time, and you know the bad stuff is over. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I
My
put my
pleasure.
heart to rest.
Good. Good. Thanks for calling, Rebecca. Bye
Thank
bye now.
you. Bye bye.
And we'll shuffle up the cards. Isn't that great, though? You see, when a person is not feeling, too good about what's going on, and then the reading gets right to the point. I mean, look at the things in that reading. The new job showed up, the bad relationship, and what's important again. Remember, this is a very good thing to do with tarot cards. If a relationship ends, a lot of us get confused and feel guilt and sadness or hurt. And it's always good to look at the cards to find out what happened. Because in this case, for instance, if the caller had any doubts, was it my fault? Could I have been better? Could I have done something differently? Those cards clearly showed me that she was treated unfairly and not treated nicely, and that's good to know. Kayla in Foley, Alabama is next. Hi, Kayla. You're on with Reverend Elliot. Kayla, are you there? Doing the news. Oh, hi. Is this Kayla?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. It's breaking up a little bit, but
Hi. Yes, it is.
I'm not catching. I'm really not catching what you're saying.
It's because I have bad weather right now. It's probably why.
Oh, okay. Well, that I heard. You must have one of those phones that likes delivering bad news, right? We had a massive
Yes.
storm. We had a massive storm here in New York this afternoon. It was huge. It was beautiful. It was like out of a Frankenstein movie. So maybe that's moving southward. What can I
Yeah,
look
that's
at?
actually where I'm from, is upstate New York.
Oh, okay. What can I look at for you?
What kind of readings do you do again?
I look at the good old tarot cards, and I can look into anything you want me to examine.
I'm pretty much looking for anything. I feel like I'm in a slump right now, and I feel like I'm not going anywhere in life. I guess. I don't know. Whatever you can see.
Okay. Well, yeah, I am what you're saying is showing up here in these cards that I've got here. One card I have is the Two of Coins, and the Two of Coins is about it shows a person who's juggling with money, and a lot of people take that to mean find literally. Tarot cards can be taken literally, but they don't usually work that way. Um, that's about a person who's trying to get something going and trying to make something happen, and it's not happening. It's this is what you were just saying. You feel like you're in a rut. Um, that's
Exactly.
but that's followed by the Page of Coins, and that's interesting because the Page of Coins is the appearance of something new in terms of money. It could mean the appearance of money. It could mean the appearance of a way of making money. But it tells me that this particular slump isn't going to last. This is verified for me by the Four of Swords, which is a card. That's another one that's grossly misrepresented in movies because it looks like the person in the card is dead. But the person's lying down and just taking time out. It's about a time when nothing is happening. And that's happening for a lot of people around the country now because of the various steps that have been taken because of the global pandemic. And it's left a lot of things up in the air. It killed one of my businesses, I can tell you that. So I'm left to wonder if I want to get it started again or if I want to just call it a day. I've been doing it for 20 years, and it was a successful business, and it's deader than vaudeville now. But these things change. But I'm seeing that this is a period of transition for you. The Two of Coins and the Four of Swords are about like a timeout, where this is the slump that you were talking about. The Page of Coins tells me that this is not going to last, and the next cards I have are really fascinating because one is the lovers. Now, that is also a card that's misrepresented in popular fiction. It doesn't necessarily mean a romantic involvement, because there are cards for that. The major cards have deeper meanings, and the lover card, the card of the lovers, means that you're going to have to make a decision coming up. There's an important decision. This is part of the duality, the two of coins, which is a duality, and the lovers, which is making a decision this way or that way. It's a clear-cut decision that you're going to have to be making. So you're in a period now where you're preparing to make a choice. And I think it's a good thing to take time out and examine the options and think about what you're doing. The interesting card to me is the next one. It's the Tower struck by lightning. And that means that change is going to come into your life so suddenly. It's going to be like the old expression of a bolt from the blue. And after that, I have the Ten of Cups, which is perfected happiness. So you see, now here's a card that just showed. The card. This is a card I would have thought would show up in this reading for you, but sooner. But here it is anyway. The Two of Swords. Two of Swords is literally about a person who feels that she's in a rut. It's a stalemate. It's a card about nothing moving. It's sort of like the Two of Coins, but at least with the Two of Coins, you're trying to get something moving. With the Two of Swords, nothing is happening. So this is definitely a period, a laid-back period for you, but that's going to change. You're going to make a decision about what to do. And from what I see, the decision that you make is going to lead to really big, sudden changes in your life that are happy. The Ten of Cups is perfected happiness, and that's what I see after the Two of Swords and the Tower struck by lightning. So overall, the main thing that this reading is doing is confirming what you said, which is that feeling of being in a slump. There's the Two of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Two of Coins. The Page of Coins tells me that there's going to be tangible results from this. The Lovers tells me that you're going to make a decision. The Tower struck by lightning tells me that that decision is going to really cause upheaval in a good way, because it's immediately followed by the Ten of Cups. So this is the quiet before the storm isn't quite the way I want to put it, because storms, are not the nicest things in the world. But this is now a period of rest before things start really happening for you. And I'm pulling one last card for you, and it's the Sun. And the Sun is about healing and health and growth and happiness. So this reading is suffused with happiness. It's just right now, as with millions of people in the country right now, you're in that in-between period. And this is a period, like the Four of Swords says, for meditation, to think about what you want to do, to reevaluate the things in your life. A lot of people are having that forced on them now. There's a lot of people who've been very busy for years and years and years and years, and suddenly they're not busy, and it's driving them crazy. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people do not know what to do at that time, and I see that you're going to put that time to use to develop a course of action, and that course of action is going to lead to big changes in your life. So don't sweat it too much that you're in a rut, because that's just your spirit preparing for the next phase of your life. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Because I am absolutely seeing positive changes coming in your life that are going to be very good for you. Here's another card I just pulled, the Ten of Coins. It's a card of happiness and a happy home and money. The coins are 10 is money and 10 is perfection. So there's a once things start moving in your life, and you're going to make them move because you're going to make the decision that moves things, you're going to see a lot of positive action, and you're in for a great time.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, that's the message I'm getting from the cards for you. So make the most of it when it comes. I think you're going to be I think that you may think it's a slump right now, but it's a period of preparation. And you're going to be so ready for what's coming. You're going to be so ready. You're going to grab it, and you're going to run with it, and you're going to have a great time. You're going to do very well.
Awesome. Thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better. Lately, I've been so down.
Well, yeah, I know. It's such a hard thing that's going on. I mean, right now we're seeing unemployment in this country in levels that we haven't seen since after the 1929 stock market crash. I mean, this is heavy duty stuff, and it's putting a lot of pressure on a lot of people. And like I said, we live in such a go, 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 go society that when everything comes to a halt, some people just don't know what to do. I'll tell you, this is why. This is why there was a news report a couple of weeks ago that the number of calls being made to people like me, who are spiritual advisors, shall we say, are up 140%. Because people now, they're finally taking the time to reevaluate their life, and they have the time, and just some people, I mean, even if it's a matter of working at home now, if you're fortunate enough to still have a job, but you're working at home, well, that also takes, that gives you more free time also, because you don't have to do commuting. It frees you up for other things. So this is a very difficult thing. One thing that this is just a sidelight. There was Dr. Timothy Leary, who was once considered the most dangerous man in America because of his embrace of mind-altering substances, but he never advocated indiscriminate use of it. He always felt that LSD should only be used in a controlled setting with trained clinical people doing it. He was in solitary confinement in prison, where he was sentenced on a bum rap that he eventually got out of. But people who went to visit him in prison said that they left feeling like they were the ones in prison and he was the one who was free, because he could be at one with himself even in a solitary confinement state. And he said, "I've never had a better time in my life." He said, this was a university professor. This was a man who lectured around the country, lectured around the world. He was always on the go, and suddenly he had nothing but time on his hands. And he said, "This is what everybody says. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time." Now, being in solitary confinement in prison isn't the nicest way in the world to have more time, but it is a way to have more time. And he saw it for an opportunity. He said, now that's the ultimate in life hands you lemons, make lemonade. I grant you that. That's a paradigm that I don't even know that I could live up to. And I'm not saying that everybody must be just like Dr. Leary, because this was a trained psychologist and he understood the workings of the mind. A lot of people never had this time, this break, and they don't know what to do with it. And I see that what you're doing, my cards show that you are a person preparing for the next step, because the next stage in your life is coming. I mean, it's coming for all of us, whatever the next stage in your life, in my life, everybody's going to have another stage in life. I mean, even without this emergency, life changes. These things happen. Whatever these things are, there was a guy who worked for the Hearst newspapers in the 1920s, and man, I forgot his name. He was an editor with the Hearst papers. He was asked what life was, and he said, he paused and thought, said, "Life is one damn thing after another." And there you go. But right now, you're feeling that slump because you want to get out and do something. But I have a feeling that you sense that around the corner, what these cards showed is there. Around the corner, there's something new and vibrant and wonderful and amazing going to happen for you, but you're not there yet, and it can be frustrating. And yeah, there, bingo, another major card. You got a lot of major cards here. It's the Star, and that's the card of hope and optimism. So I think you are definitely headed for a very good period in your life. Keep thinking about what you want to do. Keep planning. Keep deciding who you are and what you want to be and what you want to do, because you have an opportunity now that you do have the time to do this. And it's a fine line between a slump and a period of meditation. So make the best of it, because you're headed for a very good time, and you're going to make the right choice when the time comes to make that decision. I see that you're going to make the right choice. Okay. We lost Kayla. Well, anyway, Kayla, and if you're still listening, Kayla, you can always hear this. This goes for everybody else. You can hear the readings at the archive at askoneradio.com. The show will be archived in a day or so. And hey, there's 98 shows there today. I'm thinking of doing something special for show number 300. Maybe anybody has any ideas about what I should do special for show number 300. You can send me an email to asktarot@earthlink.net. That's ASKTAROT at earthlink.net. Now, that's a nice old-fashioned email, isn't it? Yeah, I even know, I heard the other day from somebody who still has an AOL email. But my Earthlink email is old enough. So let's shuffle up, because the High Priestess is a person who can see behind the veil between this world and the next. So when, Haley, when you get back, that's where we're going to start with that particular card. And, until then, I'll shuffle up the cards a little bit, and I'll remind everybody that, like I said, I do private readings for people. So get in touch with me. So at that email, asktarot@earthlink.net, and we can arrange a reading for you. Haley, you're back.
Yes.
Hi.
I can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly now. That's
Okay.
we're fine.
Okay, that's very strange. So I don't
You asked
know
about
if
your
you
father
caught
passing.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I mentioned was, which is interesting because when the line cut off, the card that I got was the High Priestess, and the High Priestess is a card of a person who's looking behind the veil, meaning the veil between this world and the world to come, the next world. So I'm going to take that as a message that this reading can give you the information that you want. So is there anything in specific that you want me to look at relating to your father?
Well, I kind of I guess want some answers because his his death was not I guess you could say from health or anything. Uh so he he took his own life.
Yeah,
And
I wanted to ask you about that because I have a series of, I'm very shy about doing that with people because when I see that in the cards, because it's a very touchy subject. I mean, even to this day, when people take their own life, sometimes in newspapers and obituaries, they don't even mention it. You know, the way years ago they wouldn't mention cancer, it's still a taboo. And I wanted to ask you about that because I have cards here that indicate it was a very difficult time when your father passed. Now, the interesting thing is, after those cards, I have the Sun, which is a card of healing and health and growth. So, you know, this because what I've got, I'll tell you exactly what I'll tell you what I have here. I have the High Priestess, which is the card I told you I had first, which was one of the cards I always look for when dealing with questions about people who've passed. The next card I have is the Nine of Swords. If I don't get a card like the High Priestess or a couple of other different cards, I won't do the reading. But that's the first card I got here. The next is the Nine of Swords. That is a card of unbearable sadness. That's why I was going to ask you if I could work in a subtle way uh, about the nature of his passing, but you told me. So this is why I could see in the cards that he had taken his own life. That's followed immediately, though, by the Sun, which is a card of happiness and, as I said, health and growth and change. So I'm going to say something which is usually reserved for, cliches when people don't know what to say. But these cards are showing me somebody who is in a better place. That the pain is over. Yeah, the pain is over, and there's growth, and there's healing, and there's happiness now. And I know that the pain continues because the pain also lingers for the people left behind. And it's a very difficult thing when we can never really know what goes through somebody's mind when they reach that point of desperation. The only thing I can tell you is that the card of severe sadness, and if you take a look at a deck of tarot cards online if you want, and look at the Nine of Swords crying incessantly with swords hanging over the person's head. It's a card of great sadness and grief. But you don't normally see that
what
kind of
did
a
you
card.
say about the head exactly with that card?
They're
Because
over the person's head are swords.
okay, because his death had relations to his head, so
Okay.
I don't know if that is something to do with that or not, but
Well,
um,
I that's not something I think we could go into in a brief reading. But what really interests me is that the Nine of Swords is followed immediately by the Sun. I mean, you don't get the happiest card in the deck coming right after the saddest card in the deck, generally. I mean, that just doesn't happen. Um, so what I'm seeing is a person who has found peace. It's too late for the people left behind, but I do see that the cards that I'm showing is your father has found peace. I have other cards here that indicated suicide to me, which is just very difficult to raise, and generally people mention it before I do. And it's only happened to me about 3 or 4 times that I've seen that in the cards when somebody's asked me about someone who's passed. But I see it very definitely here because I do have these cards of especially the Nine of Swords. But it's followed immediately by a card of happiness. Now, this is the same. This is the thing. I don't know how much I understand at all about what happens after we go, even though there are people who believe that we've all done it many times. We just don't remember it. And I think that's kind of a cheat, and I'd like to remember. And I know that as a small child, as a very little child, I used to shock my parents by remembering things. Like they would see a movie, a historical movie, and I'd sit there watching the television with them, and I'd say to them, that didn't happen like that. And I was maybe 4 years old. And they would look at me, especially if it was a film that took place in New York City in the turn of the century, and they'd look at me like I was crazy. But so I think that when we're children, we do have a little more of that. The next card after the sun that I have is the Eight of Coins, and that's about a person who's working very hard to do things, to get things done, to achieve things. So I believe survives. There are people who do believe that we have to work on things and we come back to do it again and again and again. And there's others who believe that we work it out elsewhere. Pardon?
What was the card you said?
The Eight of Coins. And that's about a person working. 8, yes. And that's about a diligent worker, a person who's working very hard at something. So I think that what your father is going through is a process of healing right now. Not on this plane of existence, but elsewhere. That was what the High Priestess card is. And I think that these are good cards in terms of growth and healing. So, wow, one more card I have here is the Ten of Swords. That's a card that's another sword card. It's right after the Nine of Swords too, but the Ten of Swords shows a person lying face down in the mud with 10 swords in their back, his back. We don't see what kind of person it is, but it's not a card of death. It's a card of that means the worst is over. So that's the single overarching message I'm getting from this brief reading is that the worst is over for the spirit that you knew as your father, and healing is beginning. And it may take another lifetime or two to happen, but healing is what I see happening. And I hope that helps out.
Yeah, it does. I was just trying to get some kind of sense of.
Well, listen to this reading. That you get in a day or so. The show will be at ask1radio.com, ask1radio.com, and listen in the archives. And you can also find it at my website, magic-works.com, on the link that says My Radio Show. I always change every week. I put up the current show from, like today's show will be up on my website by tomorrow night, if not sooner. And listen again. Listen to this reading because it's a definite. It is an on-target reading because it starts with the woman who sees behind the veil, the person who sees behind the veil, the high priestess, and it showed me that reading showed me that we're talking about a person who took his own life, but then it becomes really happy. The readings and growth, and it's about growth and doing the work to heal. So that's what's telling me is that this reading is saying that this was a very troubled soul who is now doing the work needed to heal and grow and not hurt people again like that, and not hurt himself either.
Okay. So, and you said your website was MAGICK, right? Magic.
Right. MAGICK-works.com. And there's ways to contact. Yeah, and there's ways to contact me there. You can find me through Ask One Radio. You just Google Reverend Elliot's Magical Window, and you'll find a million ways to get in touch with me. I'm the easiest person to find. I'd make a terrible fugitive. I'm the easiest person to find. So,
okay.
So hang in there.
Yeah, I do have on Facebook the A1R radio station. So.
Okay. So just
All right.
if listen to this again and absorb it because it's heavy stuff, but it's interesting stuff. So thanks for calling.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Bye-bye now. And Let's shuffle up the cards again. This is Ask One Radio, and you're listening to Reverend Elliot's Magical Window. There's the cards shuffling, and we get together every Wednesday to do this. And you don't have to wait till Wednesday. You know, I have very affordable rates for private readings, and I'd be more than happy to read for you. I didn't do any readings at all while I was sick. That's just a thing of mine. I don't know if other people do this or not, but I don't. When I am in like a medical emergency, I don't do anything occult because I don't want to associate the magical work, which to me is religious. I don't want to associate that with illness. So I took a really long break, and I tell you, it was killing me. So I didn't do any readings for people. I mean, it was killing me. There was that is a disease you don't want, folks. And I'm back, and like I said, I want to make up for the time lost. I want to do as many readings, private readings for people as I can, and that's why I'm dropping the price down. It's 10% off my already low prices, as they say in marketing. But if you want a little more than 10% off, hell, I can do that. You know, I mean, this is not about the money. This is about the work. So if you want a reading, get in touch with me. Go to magic-works, magic-works.com, and take a look at the rates there right on my homepage. And then you can find any one of 90 other pages. That I even got a page here to tell you how to make your own Irish cream at home. Ah, yes. I had a bit of a headache for a couple of days after testing that recipe out, but it's a nasty job, but somebody's got to do it. Isn't that the way they put it? So anyway, let's see if we can get some more calls in. Jay in Melbourne, Australia. Hi, Jay. You're on with Reverend Elliot.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Hi. How's it going in Australia?
Yeah, good. Lockdown.
Yeah. You're in the middle of winter. You're in the middle of winter now, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
yeah, we had another 92-degree day here. So, what can I look at for you, Jay?
How many questions am I able to ask you, sir?
Well, start with one, and we'll see where it leads.
Okay. Can you just tell me any message from the spirit guides for me, because I have a lot of plans here. So I just want everything to go smoothly. So see if there's any messages for me.
Any messages about your plans?
Yes. I have a lot of plans to do on my career, my spiritual work, and all that. So,
well,
because I'm stranded here actually. I'm stranded in Melbourne. I'm actually from Malaysia.
So you're stranded in stranded in Australia. Well, let me tell you something. I see your plans, and I'll tell you what I see in your plans. Because I have 4 cards here. 3 of them are about money. The 3 of coins is the first card I have is the 3 of coins, and that is you're that's a person who does something and it works out well, and you're rewarded for doing it. Okay. Then there's the 3 of rods. Now, the 3 of rods is exactly what you said. It's about plans. The 3 of rods is a person who has put forward a plan and is waiting for it to bear fruit and waiting for results. The next card is the Ace of Coins. That is the potential for a new stream of money coming in your way. And then the Knight of Coins. The Knight of Coins is also the beginnings of money appearing, but it's more hectic. It's, up and down and up and down. You will have money, then you won't. It's not a desperate financial situation as much as it is an exciting one, And then that's followed by the Page of Coins. See, I've got 5 cards here. 4 of them are about money. So money is the big issue in your life. The Page of Coins tells me that there is definite look. I got the Ace of Coins, the Knight of Coins, and the Page of Coins tells me that there is money coming your way soon.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Well, you don't have to thank me, but if you want to, no, these are free readings.
Good news, because you just popped in like an angel, and you lifted me up.
It's your news. The cards are speaking to you. They're just coming through me. But definitely, let me give you one more card that you're going to like too. It's the Empress. That's a major card, and that is a person who makes things happen. The Empress is about fertility and growth. and making things happen. In many cards, in many decks of cards, that card shows a person surrounded by vegetables and fruit. So you see what I mean? It's about someone who makes things happen. And I think that you're going to be making things happen, and you got definitely there's money and growth and new ideas in your future. So your plans are they look like they're good plans. You know, I think you're going to do all right.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what I'm planning, you know, while being stranded here. So I'm just finding ways, you know, for betterment, for a better future, you know. Yep.
Well, I'm going to give. I have
That's
to go
lovely.
because I'm at the end of the show. But I'm going to tell you one last card I have here is the Six of Rods, and that Six of Rods is about success and triumph. So I think you're going to get yourself out of this mess. Starting with that Three of Coins is a person who works very hard and gets rewarded, and then I've got all those other cards about money showing up, and this tells me the Six of Rods tells me that you're going to be rewarded. So you're gonna work your way out of this. You're gonna be fine. The Empress is a good card too. The Empress means that you make things happen. Things happen around you. Have we lost you again? Have we lost Jay in Melbourne? Well, that's okay because the reading was pretty much over, and I've only got about 3 minutes to go here. So let me remind you, this is Reverend Elliott's Magical Window. We get together every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific to spend an hour together looking through the tarot cards. And if you like what you heard, if you like the way this works, and if you think you could benefit from it, give me a ring here. You know, you can drop me a line at asktarot@earthlink.net, asktarot@earthlink.net, and I will be more than happy to arrange a private reading for you, which is you and me on the phone. I pay for the phone call, so it doesn't even cost you a call to New York. I'll do that, and we can take a look into the issues in your life. My email address again is asktarot, one word, ASKTAROT @earthlink.net, and you can also find me through my website, which I keep mentioning, which is magic-works.com, magic-works.com, magic-works.com. And there's a contact form there, and there's like 90 pages of all kinds of stuff there. If anything going on in your life that you think could be enhanced by using the old techniques of magical work and occult magic. I mean, this is not like, this is a different, the reality is between these movies where there's wizards who kill each other and Harry Potter. The reality is right in the middle of that. And I've been doing this for years and years, and I still never take it for granted. It still surprises me, just like these readings today were just marvelous readings and so spot on. And I can't get blasé about it because it's just. And now the other thing, this is important. Forget about getting blasé about it. I can't even get a swollen head over this. I can't get a swelled head because it's not me doing it. And this is the pitfall for a lot of magical workers, is they start to believe that it's them, that they are the ones doing it. Well, we do have power. Let's face it. We have more power than we know. In fact, you get over to my webpage at magic-works.com, magic-works.com, and scroll down, and you'll see what kind of power we have. Because I have a video there of me. This was a spontaneous video, too. There was no rehearsal. It was just me doing this. It was a lighting check, and I did it, of me making a wheel spin without touching it. Because we all have that power. And there's a book. I just mailed out a couple of copies for people who bought the book called Bending Spoons with Your Mind and Other Miracles of Mind Power, which is a wonderful book that I wrote that's over at mojoacademy.org. And it'll show you that that's the kind of power that you have. That's the kind of power that you have, which is the power of the mind. Well, I've got to run. I'm out of here, and I'll see you again next week on the Ask One Radio Network at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. Until then, remember, folks, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator. Bye-bye now.
A1R. The Ask One Radio Network.
I'm a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs.
Wi-Fi everywhere.
More playgrounds. More ice cream trucks. I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream. When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Let's hear from